13 drone strikes, 2 workshops burning at once. Black smoke visible from orbit. Ukraine didn't bomb a building. It attacked the source, with drones that cost $55,000 each. How? Shortly after midnight, the swarm crossed the border and immediately made a choice that would determine everything. They didn't fly high. They didn't fly fast. They flew low and slow, barely above the terrain, moving at roughly the speed of a car on a highway. You'd think that would make them easier to catch. It made them almost impossible to find. Because flying low and slow wasn't just safer, it exploited a blind spot built directly into Russia's radar. A blind spot that had existed for decades without anyone exploiting it at this scale. Russia's radar was running. Russia's operators were watching their screens. They saw nothing. To understand why Russia was terrified of losing this specific facility, you need to understand one number: 10,000. That's how many artillery shells Russia fires along the front line every single day. Every shell needs explosive filler. That filler needs ammonium nitrate, and Cherepovyetes Azot quietly produces a significant share of Russia's entire national supply. This wasn't an industrial target. It was a supply chain attack. Destroy the plant, cut the chemical supply, the shells slow down. Russia knew this facility mattered. That's why it positioned layer after layer of air defense between the Ukrainian border and that plant, each system more expensive than the last. The assumption was simple. Nothing gets through all of that. So how did $55,000 drones get through all of them? This is conflict vector, where today's battles expose tomorrow's military reality. Russia had spent decades building one of the world's most advanced radar networks. It failed in minutes. Here's why. Radar designed to track supersonic missiles has to ignore everything that isn't a missile: rain, trees, crops. If it displayed every slow-moving object, the screens would be useless. So the system automatically filters out anything moving below a certain speed. Anything too slow looks like background noise. A Ukrainian drone at highway speed looks exactly like background noise. The radar wasn't malfunctioning, it was working perfectly. It just wasn't designed for something this slow. And no one had ever sent something this slow 800 kilometers into Russian territory before. Russia scrambled MiG-31 interceptors to hunt the swarm visually. You'd think that solved the problem. It made things worse. A fighter built for Mach 2 targets cannot effectively engage something moving at highway speed. The geometry simply doesn't work. By the time a pilot can react, the moment is gone. The first defense layer, the most expensive radar network Russia had, failed completely. But Russia still had more. Russia had one more card to play before the drones reached their destination: GPS jamming. Across the entire approach corridor, ground transmissions flooded the radio spectrum with interference. Scramble the navigation signal, the drone loses its position. The mission fails. Against almost every drone ever built, this works. Against these drones, it was irrelevant, because these drones weren't using GPS. That decision was made months before the mission made Russia's billion-dollar jamming network completely useless. The Skynode S navigation system reads the terrain below with the camera, matches what it sees against stored maps, and calculates its position without a single satellite signal. There was no frequency to jam. Russia's transmitters broadcast noise into empty air. And the results were immediate. Strike accuracy had already jumped from 20% to 90%. The jamming network defeated nothing. The drones were still coming. And now only one defense system stood between them and the target. If it worked, the mission was over. Pantsir-SM point defense systems were waiting. Short range, fast reacting. Designed for exactly this low, slow aerial threat at close range. This was what the Pantsir was built for. Ukraine had planned for that too. The swarm split into 2 groups. The first wave wasn't there to hit anything. It was there to make the Pantsir shoot. And the Pantsir did exactly what it was designed to do. It fired. It expended its missiles. And then it began reloading. That reload window was the entire plan. Because during those seconds, the real strike drones arrived. But there was something else, something Russia never anticipated. The anti-drone protection cages bolted onto the plant's most critical areas, installed specifically to protect against direct hits, were visible in pre-mission satellite imagery. The AI targeting system didn't see protection. It saw a map. The more heavily armored a structure, the higher its priority. Russia had spent time and resources protecting its most valuable equipment, and in doing so, it had told Ukraine exactly where to aim. Russia's own defenses had guided the strike. The drones had finally broken through every layer of Russia's defenses. Now came the part those defenses had been built to prevent, destroying the one thing Russia couldn't afford to lose. 2 workshops ignited within seconds of each other. That wasn't the real damage. The fire would burn for hours. The consequences would last for months. Fires confirmed across 2 of the plant's 3 production units. Nearly 1 million tons of annual capacity gone. The reinforced storage area hardened specifically against drone attack after earlier strikes was reported as a direct impact zone. The supply chain feeding Russian artillery shell explosives interrupted. The replacement timeline for major industrial equipment? Months. Because the explosion wasn't the real victory. The economics were. Now consider the math. Ukraine spent approximately $700,000 on the full swarm. That's where the operation stopped being about explosions and started becoming a financial nightmare. Russia spent millions on interceptor missiles and missed. It will spend months rebuilding production capacity if it can. And it did all of this while its radar ignored the threat. Its fighters couldn't catch it. Its jammers had nothing to jam. And its point defense was baited into firing at decoys. Russia fired. Russia missed. Ukraine fired. Ukraine hit. But the factory wasn't the biggest thing Ukraine destroyed. It was the idea that Russia's air defenses could stop a modern attack like this. Russia believed distance protected the one thing it couldn't afford to lose. It didn't. What protected that factory wasn't supposed to be a single missile battery or a single radar. It was an entire defensive equation. Long-range radar to detect the threat, fighters to intercept it, electronic warfare to break its navigation, point defense missiles to destroy anything that got through. Layer after layer, each designed to hand the problem to the next. On paper, it was one of the most heavily protected industrial sites in Russia. In reality, every layer failed. Not because the systems were defective, because every one of them had been designed around the same assumption: that a serious threat would be fast, that it would depend on GPS, that it would appear on the radar, that it would behave the way modern weapons had behaved for decades. The drones did none of those things. The radar ignored them because they were too slow. The fighters couldn't engage them for the same reason. The jammers broadcast noise at a signal the drones weren't using. The Pantsir batteries fired exactly as they were supposed to, at decoys. And the protection Russia added around its most valuable equipment helped identify the very targets Ukraine wanted to destroy. Russia didn't lose because one system failed. It lost because every system solved yesterday's problem. That's why military planners around the world are studying this strike so closely, because the same assumptions that shaped Russia's air defenses also shaped many Western ones. The same radar filters, the same interceptor economics, the same dependence on layered defenses designed for a different generation of threats. The question they're asking isn't whether Ukraine can repeat this attack. It's whether they've built billion-dollar defenses around the same outdated assumptions. Because in modern warfare, the side that wins isn't always the one with the strongest shield. It's the one that changes the equation first.